Sometimes, in the deepest hours of the night, your heart cries out, "God, where are you? Why are you silent?" You have prayed, poured out your soul, begged for mercy, and yet the heavens remain closed. You wonder, if God truly loves me, why doesn't he answer? Why can't he just bless me now? I once read a testimony of a Christian woman named Carol McLeod, who longed for healing and restoration. Her prayer was not answered in the way she expected. She later wrote, "I am still learning how to live with an unanswered prayer. By thanking him for the million prayers that he has answered, the testimony isn't really about the destination. It's about finding God during the journey." In those words, you hear the echo of your own struggle. You see your tears. You feel the ache of waiting. Yet you sense, in your spirit, that there is more beneath the silence than you yet see. What if the silence is not the end, but a pathway to something deeper? What if God is loving you in this very quiet? From the very beginning, let me assure you, your unanswered prayer does not mean you are unloved. It does not mean you are forgotten. The Bible tells us in Isaiah 55 verses 8 to 9, KJV, "For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, saith the Lord. For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts." When God seems silent, it is often because he is working in ways higher than your thinking can grasp. His timing, his wisdom, his purposes all stretch beyond what your eyes can see. Consider the story of Lazarus. Jesus loved him deeply, yet when Lazarus fell ill, Jesus waited. Martha, in her anguish, said, "Lord, if thou hadst been here, my brother had not died." John 11 verse 21, KJV. Jesus responded, "Said I not unto thee, that, if thou wouldest believe, thou shouldest see the glory of God?" John 11 verse 40, KJV. The delay was not denial. It was the stage for a greater revelation. When Jesus finally spoke, Lazarus came forth from the tomb. All the questions, all the pain, suddenly held new meaning. Often, God withholds the timing of his answer so that his glory might shine more brightly, so that when he speaks, all will know it was him. But why must there be silence? Why this waiting? First, because love sometimes calls for waiting. True love does not always cater to comfort. It often stretches. It refines. It forms character. God's silence is not neglect. It is the soil in which your faith might deepen. It is the furnace in which your trust is purified. Second, because God sees the bigger picture. He knows what we do not. In Romans 8 verse 28 KJV we are promised, "And we know that all things work together for good to them that love God, to them who are the called according to his purpose." Yes, all things, not just the answered prayers, but the unanswered ones. The silence too works. God weaves those moments into the tapestry of your life. Third, because unanswered prayer invites relationship. Prayer is not a vending machine. It is not a checklist you tick off. It is communion. It is dependence. As Focus on the Family wisely notes, God does not promise to be our personal butler or wish fulfiller. Prayer is more about relationship, about wrestling with him, as Jacob wrestled the angel at Peniel. Focus on the family. When God is silent, you have a choice: to drift away in frustration, or to lean in, to press in deeper, to pursue him even when you feel unheard. Back to that testimony, Carol McLeod recognized that the greater story was not her deliverance, but how God met her in the waiting. She chose gratitude in the silence. She chose trust even in the storm. I also want to share another story, a modern one. A young Christian woman was praying for a romantic relationship, believing that if God would give her a partner, many things in her life would make sense. But God did not answer that prayer in the way she desired. For months, the silence felt like rejection. She felt broken. Yet over time, she began to see that this no was actually a protection, removing her from an unsuited path, refining her identity, revealing idols she had placed on her hopes. In hindsight, she said the unanswered prayer was actually a gift. She discovered that oftentimes God says no or wait to free us from things that would harm us, to give us strength, or to lead us to a greater yes. Even in the Gospels, we see Jesus himself praying in Gethsemane. If it be possible, let this cup pass from me. Matthew 26 verse 39. But he yielded, nevertheless not as I will, but as thou wilt. His deepest desire was submitted to the Father's will. This is the heart of faith. When God seems to withhold, it may be because the cup he is offering is greater than the one you asked for. And yes, your wounded heart may protest. You may cry out, but I need this now. I've waited too long. Those cries are not dishonorable. They lean into God's own lament. The psalmists did it. They questioned. They mourned. And through those expressions, they learned to trust. In Psalm 56 verse 8, KJV, we read, Thou tellest my wanderings. Put thou my tears into thy bottle. Are they not in thy book? Your tears are not lost. They are seen. They are held. God collects them. In Habakkuk 2 verse 3 KJV we read, For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak, and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry. Though it tarries, wait for it, because it will surely come. Hold on. Keep speaking to God. Keep pressing despite silence, because one day that silence will break. Words will come. Revelation will dawn. Healing will unfold. You will look back and see how God was never absent, how he was weaving in the dark. You will see his hand in places you never expected. You will understand that the years of waiting were not wasted, they were formative. Remember Martha's words on that sad day. Lord, if thou hadst been here, my brother had not died. John 11 verse 21, KJV. Jesus had already spoken those words. If thou wouldest believe, thou shouldest see the glory of God. John 11 verse 40, KJV. God's promise to you. Trust, even when you don't understand. Believe even when you don't see. Wait even when it hurts. Do not allow silence to convince you of absence. When heaven seems closed, faith often steps out not because it has proof, but because it trusts the character of God. When you feel forgotten, remember David. He once cried, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? Psalm 22 verse 1, KJV. Yet he went on to declare, But thou art holy, O thou that inhabitest the praises of Israel. Psalm 22 verse 3, KJV. He affirmed who God is, even when his circumstances screamed otherwise. You can do the same. Speak truth over your heart. Declare who God is, not merely how you feel. Choose trust in silence. I want you to lean into this. Unanswered prayers are not the last chapter. They are not full stops. They are commas in your story. And God is writing your narrative. Learn from the silence. Grow in intimacy. Let your faith find its footing not on answers, but on the nature of your God. In time, when God moves, you will see how nothing was wasted. The delay, the pain, the tears, the moments you cried out in the darkness. All of it will converge into a testimony. A story of how your loving God held you in quiet, unseen ways. One day, in a moment, the silence will break. By his voice you will live. By his hand you will know that his love was alive in every pause. And you will see that a loving God did answer in the fashion most fitting.